Round two today for the Rove Elliptical Trainer. So I'm really excited about this. We were talking earlier today about all the different things that are coming up with holidays as it pertains to putting on the belly bulge with holiday feasts and trimmings and desserts, and you've got your different holiday gatherings with family and friends where you are exchanging cookies and being merry and just doing all wonderful things. But that being said, we typically are wanting to somehow moderate that so that we're not packing it on too fast, right? So we need something that we can have for the use of home because our time is already of a necessity. And so if we have something that we can use at home to be able to battle the bulge and get our bodies moving and get circulation into our extremities, build up some caloric expenditures, and minimize how much belly bulge and how many extra pounds we're packing on through the waist and hips, then the more likely we are to enjoy this whole holiday season, right? So what I want to know from you, because of course we're going to be giving another one of these away tonight. What I want to know from you is what exactly is your weakness when it comes to the holidays? Is it not moving? Is it we're eating too much? Is it we're sitting too much, or we're working too hard, which means our stress levels are going up? So what is it that you need to do during the holidays in order to battle so that you can start 2022 off with a bang? And that being said, I want to know where you're chiming in from because, of course, we are live right now with YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. And I want to make sure that we are able to access all of you here through your comments so that one of you between those three platforms are able to take off with one of these new Rove elliptical machines at the convenience of your home. Now, we do have a lot of great benefits. I want to get into this here in just a second, but I don't want to rush into this just yet. One of the great things that I have been able to do here in the last week is putting on a Lifepro recharge event for, I like to call, magic moms. You don't have to be a mom, but what we did over the weekend was set up my gym, as you can see behind me, lots and lots of devices. So we had about 15 pairs of the Axis air compression boots. We had about 10 or 12 of the Oculax eye masks. We had 4 or 5 or so of the Visicure light therapy masks. We had the red light belts out. We had 10 different platforms. We had all kinds of different gadgets and toys for individuals to come in and just completely refresh, recharge, relax, recover, and become confident in everything that they're doing going forward, because the holidays is a very stressful time for so many people, whether it's trying to get your homes ready with the decorations or whether it's trying to get all the cooking and the shopping and all those last minute things done before the year's end. It can be a very, very stressful time for a lot of people. And the other challenge in all of this is that we have the change in sunlight exposure, which means we're going into seasonal depression disorder because we don't get to see the sun through our eyes as often as we normally do. And our body actually regulates its hormone release based on how we see the sun through our eyes. So if we can maximize the opportunity of hormone release by hacking into the body in whichever way, shape, or form is possible, then if we can get ahead of those happy hormones being released, then we can battle those stress hormones taking over our joy in our bodies, and we are able to refresh and recover and recharge for 2022, which is going to be the best year yet to come, right? So that being said, the Rove Elliptical Machine is going to be a great asset in your home in that you don't have to hire a personal trainer. You don't have to go to a gym. You don't have to wait for the weather to be right. You have the ability to use this weighing 35 pounds. It's got a max capacity of 220 pounds. You can use this from a seated or a standing position, which is really pretty awesome. That's not something that we've been able to do with the Flex Stride or the Flex Stride Pro in the past. So this is the first elliptical machine that Lifepro has launched that you can use from a standing or a seated position, all from the convenience of home and all without having to have somebody helping you and coaching you through it. So What does this do? Well, we're improving blood circulation and muscle tone, and we're also increasing our overall flexibility and mobility. One things that happens, I should say two things that happens when we do too much sitting and not enough moving, and do a lot of eating and not enough exercising, is we end up in getting really stiff joints. So our shoulders, our hips, our low back, all those areas get really, really tight, and in the process, we develop extra tension, extra pain, and of course we get sloppy postures, we get really tight, and then when 2022 rolls around, we're already dealing with pain instead of feeling like we can be the best version of ourselves possible and be a whole new yourself. So we're going to be able to decrease chronic pain by increasing our core strength and increasing metabolism. We're going to be able to decrease stress hormones, and we're going to increase our happy hormones, which include the dopamine, which is our addiction hormone. So it is good to have an addiction to the Rove Elliptical Machine by using it more, feeling good and refreshed, and letting those hormones flow. So we're going to get dopamine, we're going to get some oxytocin, which is our lovey-dovey feel-good hormone. We're going to get serotonin, which is primarily a belly hormone. And then we're also going to get those endorphins, which is our painkillers, so that we don't have to necessarily feel the way that we feel and having to find other ways to cope with pain, which a lot of times leads to overeating because it's one thing that's good in our life that feels good, tastes good, what have you. So a lot of individuals who are in pain eat a little bit more often than what we should. And so if we can increase that endorphin release, then we can decrease those stress hormones and that pain threshold. Okay. Now, the last but not least is we're going to be able to increase our overall bone density. So as we move less through the winter months and not making contact with earth, we have to be able to do whatever we can to battle muscle loss and maintain muscle tone and keep our BMI somewhat of a tolerable level so that we're not fighting this in the spring. Okay, so what I want to demonstrate with you here, and I'm probably going to get my head chopped off here, is we have our knob here, which is eight different resistance levels that we can use in order to achieve the results that we're looking for. So 8 different resistance levels. We just turn the knob each direction and it just clicks in to position. And then we go on back to where we started from, low to high. So 8 different levels, low to high. We have this red button here, and once we actually push that red button, we've got several different metrics, workout metrics that we're keeping track of. We're keeping track of total strides in the duration of the workout, but also total strides overall. We can keep track of time. We can keep track of all of our calories, but ideally, you want to be able to keep track of calories through wearing a heart rate monitor strap and keeping an app in place. Repetitions per minute, we're able to keep track of just scanning all the way through all those. And so that red button is going to come in handy because when you want to reset that, all you have to do is push the button for 3 seconds and it wipes everything out. Okay, the other thing you're going to see here, it almost looks like it's on a sled, right? Well, we have a non-slip mat that's affixed to the bottom of this bracket so that when we are putting it on the floor, it doesn't shift forward to backward. We also have these little slots. You can see the little slots down there at the bottom. And those are made to attach the Lifepro resistance bands. And so we slide that through, bring our handle through, and you can actually exercise in doing some curls or some rows while you are using the unit, or you can take a break from pedaling the unit and use the bands however you see fit. To save us some time tonight, I'm not going to demonstrate with the bands on, but just know that there's an attachment point there where you can use that to your advantage. Now, if you're one of those people who you don't feel like you can stay put in the pedals and you don't want to have to stay to keep your feet there, we come included with the adjustable strap. And the adjustable strap, once you get on the unit, you're going to flip the wheel up. You're going to slide the strap under. And then from here, the wheel comes back down, and then you just tighten this down over the top of your shoe. Me personally, I am not one who enjoys straps. So again, I'm going to choose to not use this while I'm actually doing the workout. But again, it is an option that if you want to have the straps in place with your shoes on underneath, it'll keep your foot from shifting while you're on it. Okay, now, if you are one who wants to use this while you're at work, because this is technically created to be used for under the desk. So if you're wanting to use it under the desk at work and you're needing to take those breaks or just getting blood flow into the extremity, this is an easy way you can do it while using these coaster pads in order to keep the wheels from shifting. So let's go through that here right quick. And because I'm on turf, I don't really have to worry about this moving a whole lot because the turf keeps this from moving a whole lot. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna put this underneath of our casters here. And everything kind of just stays put here with those in place. And then the unit itself is gonna go down on the floor. Again, weighs 35 pounds and it's got a max capacity of 220. And then we have a tether strap. If you feel that you need to be anchored to your device, you can use it. But I found I really didn't have to worry about it so much. But if you're worried, if you're on a hard floor where you roll around a lot, then you can put the tether strap on and it'll keep you from rolling away, even with the caster pads in place. So if you're pushing the unit forward because you're exercising, then you can keep yourself distanced so that you don't roll completely away. Okay. All right. So that's how we use the tether strap. I'll just leave that in context so you guys can see this. Now, the one other thing that makes this one really cool, it comes with a screwdriver to be able to adjust the height of the pedal. So depending on what angle you're wanting to use with the pedal, you can increase, decrease the pedal height to get that optimal angle in the hips that's comfortable for you in one of 3 different adjustable positions. And then last but not least, we have an extra non-slip mat that you can lay underneath of the device on the floor. And then we have a cell phone attachment bracket that you actually will move the top of this out of the Rove itself. This bracket clips into position, just clips in, and then you can slide your cell phone directly on top and keep track of what's going on or keep a workout. Let's do this. There we go. Keep track of your workout. If you've got an app or you're keeping track of your metrics using your special app, it just sits right there on top, which makes it quite convenient. Me personally, I'm a minimalist, so I don't like all the stuff. I like to just have the machine that I can run with and go. Okay, so more about the Rove Elliptical Machine. Normally runs $249.99 to $349.99, just depends on the time of year that you're going to find this available. Today you're going to find it $179.99 for a limited time only. $179.99 is what this is going for. They're going to post a link on there so that if you decide that you want to order right here, right now, you'll be able to have access to that. Okay. I see that we're having some connection issues. Let me make a quick adjustment and make sure that we are live and running strong. I think we're okay, but I want to make sure, for whatever reason, this is not on my end because I do not like to be responsible for this. So bear with me. I'll be right next to you here. Sometimes running a battery down on my unit here can cause some problems. So give me 1 second. And we're almost there. And again, not typical for this to happen. But I don't want this on my end. All right, bear with me here. We're almost there. Okay, Now I'm hooked up live. So hopefully we're not having any connection problems. Because everybody give me a thumbs up if they hear everything okay. I'm seeing that people are getting hard to connect with the video, that you've lost some connections. I just want to make sure that everybody is thumbs up, everybody's responding, everybody can hear me. Okay, now I'm also seeing a comment here. My current machine, okay, awesome, that makes me happy. I'm also seeing my current machine that I use always moves, and I don't use it. You don't use it that much. This is a game changer and will work so much better. This looks like a well-built machine that you could have everything in one. Awesome. Okay, now we're good. So I just want to make sure that everybody can hear. Everything is good. Okay, let's demo this one. Okay, so here we go. Now, one thing that I talked about earlier was we have to make sure that we are sensitive about the height, okay? I'm going to slide all of you back so that you can see my unit a little bit better. There we go. Okay, now we can see. Now, the way I've got this adjusted, it's on a level of 1. Now I'm sitting really far away right now. So for me, I would be best suited to either bring it towards me or bring my stool towards me. But as you can see, I'm locked into these casters. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring the unit towards me. Bring the unit towards me. Once you get it set, it's really pretty easy to get going. And then tighten down the tether strap. Again, I'm one of those that less is better for me. I don't like all of the extra stuff necessarily, but a lot of people enjoy having all those things. Yep, we're solid. Okay, and so pedal away we go. So right now I'm on a level 1, okay? And level 1, because my pedals are a little flatter, we have the ability to tilt our pedals up a little bit higher. And when we increase the angle of the pedals up higher, it's easier on our feet, our ankles, and our hips. Now I can tell you right now on this 1 level out of 8 that my legs are already burning up top just in the position that I'm in, okay? So there's a lot of different things we can do here. The one thing that I love about this unit is if you're wanting to stand, you can actually turn the unit around and you can use it from a standing position. You don't want to have a bunch of items sitting around you so that if you should fall by accident, that you don't have an accident. So let me adjust here. And then I'm going to show you how to use a different height and stools in order to adjust your workout. So from here, you're going to get on very carefully and start pedaling forward. So here we are forward. Okay, and I think I'm still cutting my head off, so let's try this one more time. Okay, so there we go. Okay, now you get to see me. Okay, so we are pumping those arms, using our whole body to get moving. We can also go backwards. Get low, get low, get low. High, high, high. Low, low, low. High, 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 right? Okay, let me turn this to the side so that you can see this from the side. And let me see what these comments are. I plan to use it standing since winter is coming, and walking outside isn't the best option. So what's the difference in the benefits between this one, and having the one with bicycle pedals? Well, let me show you, because I actually have the one with bicycle pedals here and close to me. But what I want you to make sure that you can see is that if you are using this in a standing position, you can't use bicycle pedals. So I'm going to start here, and we're just going to pedal. Whoop, there we go. Now you got it. So that now my feet are stable. Now the pedals have a non-slip surface on them, so you don't have to worry about tracking. Everything, you've got traction on the pedal in this rubber, And you want to make sure you do this with shoes on. But yes, whew, we are getting a good workout going. Yes, so this is just level 1. Let's crank up the intensity. Let's go level 5. This is just halfway. Okay, yep. You got to get the momentum going. All right, so we talked about so many different reasons why the Rove Elliptical Machine would be ideal at home for use. If you are wanting to win one of these tonight, for us to send to you, I need you to put hashtag Rove, R-O-V-E, and what you're planning on using it for. Are you doing it to improve blood flow? Are you doing it to battle the bulge? Are you doing it to lift the rump? Are you doing it to tone those thighs? Or are you using it to get your ticker working a little bit better? So many different reasons on why you want to use it. But I want to know, oh, my heart rate's going up. I want to know from you how you're going to use it at home for the best benefit of the holiday season getting ready to start. Now let's go backwards. Low, low, low. We getting low, low, low. Yes. And again, I'm only halfway. Woo, resistance. And we are on fire. Okay. Don't forget to have something to drink. Okay. If you are over the age of 70 and you're wanting to use this, please promise me you're going to start on level 1 for just 10 minutes at a time and see how you handle that, because you can do this for as long as you want to. It will automatically shut off at 4 minutes if you're not using it at all. Whew, I'm going to be sore tomorrow. Now, I know some of you are super intimidated by using this at home in a standing position. So let's talk about the different levels of the hips versus the knees and why it is important to make sure that you are positioned properly so that you don't hurt yourself, okay? So let's start here. If I am using the Rove, we're going to turn around, okay? What I want you to pay really close attention to is where my hips are in relation to my knees, all right? And if I put my feet up here, like such, okay, you can see that my rump is lower than my knees, which means we've got to push really hard in our knee joints and grinding in our hip joints in order to get this thing moving, okay? And in going backwards, it's almost like we're rowing a boat backwards, right? We're on a low level here. The reason why this is important is because if your booty is lower than your knees, it is really hard to do this exercise. So let's not change the resistance. Let's raise our seat level higher, okay? And from here, we can push just a little bit harder. And from here, you can see that my hips are a little bit higher than the level of my knees, and my feet are out in front of me just a little bit, okay? This is much less intense on my knee joints and on my hip joints, which means my low back is not gonna hurt, and I'm not gonna walk away with knee or shin pain. So what I want you to remember when you're getting situated on your Rove, when you get it, is make sure that your seat is high enough that you're able to generate the momentum and the cycling in order to not create more tension on your body. Now, if you have a bar stool at home, this is like just a regular bar height, actually, yes, this is a bar height stool that I use in a lot of my other videos. And you're gonna see that from this position right here, I am almost perfectly level, okay? And if I lean back a little bit and push forward, I'm still getting a lot of this. But if you have trouble holding yourself up and you feel this in your lower belly and you don't want to feel it there, you can lean back and do this from the comfort of a stool or from the comfort of your chair at your desk, okay? So that's forward and that's backward. Now, if we want an even higher height, because we're not ready to stand up yet, let me grab we have our extra cushion here, which gives us an extra 2 inches in height. And then when we sit up here, I'm really high compared to where I just started from. And this is much, much easier to do, much easier to do. And then we go backwards, okay? So that is how you adjust for hips, knees, and ankles. Most importantly is we want to make sure that we have something greater than a 90-degree angle, a 90-degree angle, and a 90-degree angle. So nothing less than 90 degrees. So in other words, if I'm leaning forward and trying to do this, this is less than a 90-degree angle right here, which means I'm going to hurt my back doing this, okay? If I squat really low to where my booty is a lot lower than where it's at now, I'm gonna put more pressure here, here, and down at the ankles. So we wanna have at least a 90, 90, and 90 in order to do this without hurting ourselves or creating any extra tension, okay? Now, let me check some of these questions. Okay, yes, anything to just get the body moving, for sure. I would like to use this to maintain mobility. I'm homebound and disability or on disability. This would keep my muscles activated. Absolutely. Okay. Now, let's say that you don't have a stool. You don't have the rolling stool, and all you have is just a regular chair. Let's grab a regular chair. Here is our regular chair, okay? Because I want to make sure those of you that are at home are not worried about whether you're going to be able to use this or not based on what you already have available. You don't want to have to go buy a bunch of extra things in order to do this exercise if you don't already have everything equipped at home. So you don't have to look for much. Okay, so here we are in a chair. You just get to lean back and there we go. Okay, now the difference being is if I'm sitting forward on the chair, I've got to actually grab the chair and go for a pedal ride, right? Not a good idea on those hip joints because right here, my hips are way up high. And I'm sorry, my hip angle is way less than that 90 degrees and those knees are way higher. So that's going to be putting a lot of cranking on your joints. But if you just lean back and open this hip angle up and you can just push away, then we can get something going and we can feel a lot of work happening right through here in the lower legs. So you can get very specific as to where you're wanting to tone just by picking a certain chair or picking a certain height or adjusting the pedal height or moving the Rove forward or backward. Now, if you have a pillow at home and you want to put the pillow on top to increase that hip angle, okay, we can generate much more comfort right here. So most of you are going to be able to do this on your couch at home or sitting at a desk. And not only can we go forward, but we can work the opposite muscles by going backwards, okay? And then if we decide that we want to stand, we turn it around, we get ourselves situated, and we go for a ride, okay? Going for a ride. And it's that simple. We can go backwards, okay? So many different options that you have. Now, let's talk about something that I haven't shown you much, and that is a special feature that this has that some of the other devices that we have don't. And that is the ability to adjust the height of the pedal. So let's say that you've tried everything. You've tried adjusting the seat height. You have tried adjusting the distance, and you're still not feeling very good in your foot ankle joint, okay? On the pedal, you're gonna see that we can lift this off. You're gonna see a screw right here, okay? And I'm gonna go ahead and unlock this, okay? How cool is I've got the turntable display today, right? Turntable display is in order. And it doesn't take much to release these, okay? As you can see there, it's coming out. Now, what I want you to be able to notice here is we have 3 different holes, okay? We've got 3 different holes of adjustability here. So if we go all the way up, there is all the way up right there, okay? The height changes by, generally speaking, about 1/2 inch or so, okay? So we can go all the way at the bottom, we can go middle of the road, or we can go all the way, okay? And so if we go all the way, let's go ahead and slide this in here, just so you have an idea. Super easy and quick to adjust. And then once you get one side situated, you have to adjust the other side. So make sure that you adjust the other side. Would you get it by Christmas if ordered in the next few days? Absolutely. If you order it in the next few days, you'll have it by the weekend more than likely. So as you can see here, this pedal is now leaning way taller, and I'm going to attempt to switch. Yes, whereas this one is more flat, okay? So this is where we started, okay? And then over here is the difference in the angle. It's a much, much higher angle, all right? So let me go ahead and adjust this other side so you can see how quickly, if you decide that you want to flip this the other direction and open it up this way, if you don't want to hold it up at the same time, you can flip it so it's flat. And we just spin that right on out. And then from here, we're gonna go, gotta remember here, yes, we're gonna go all the way to the top. So you can see that hole all the way through there. We're gonna insert this back in here, tighten it down. And we are launched and ready for takeoff, okay? And so after we get situated there, and again, it's actually not very easy to get this thing going without being on it, but you can see that the incline is much higher. So let me show you that, what that looks like in the real world. And you'll be able to see how fluid I can move with this versus what I could just with the adjustment. All right, so remember, for right now, it's $179.99 for limited time only, $179.99, and normally between $249.99 and $349.99, okay? So now we're gonna push away. And so you can push a lot harder with the balls of your feet with a steeper incline, okay? We can go backwards, and it's much easier to go backwards on this one since I made the adjustment, okay? Let me turn sideways so that you can see it from a different angle, because I think that's important to be able to compare it from one side to the next. All different kinds of props here. Okay, so there we go. So hips, knees, foot, ankles, okay? Everything is easier to pedal. Let's go backwards. And we're going backwards. Okay? Now, some of you might wonder about the straps. So if I take the strap, we're gonna grab it. We're gonna flip it under, slide it back over. And then from here, we're gonna crank down really tight so this doesn't go anywhere. Now, if your foot starts to tingle After you crank down on that strap, that's too tight, okay? And so now we can actually get a lifting, but the problem is if you lift with your heel, as you can see that, because I'm attached to the pedal, I'm actually lifting the pedal off the ground. You want to make sure that you're remaining that firm contact while pedaling away, okay? But again, I don't like having straps because I like the ability to move nice and free, okay? Now, what is this like if I'm trying to stand? Let's check this out. So I'm at the top level, okay? And this, there we go. I'm pointed down a lot on this versus being a little more level. So it all depends on where you want to feel this, because right now I'm feeling this really heavy right here in my thighs. And if we go backwards, I'm pushing through the balls of my feet, not as fluid as what you saw me before, okay? But most importantly, make sure that you've got somewhere around you to balance so that you don't take a spill by accident, okay? All right, now we've covered 2 different levels of height for the pedals. Let's go ahead and rock out the third. And again, the Rove weighs 35 pounds and it has a max capacity of 220. Can this be used for shoulder therapy? I would not recommend it for shoulder therapy at all. If you're wanting to do something for shoulder therapy, I would grab the Flex Cycle because you actually can grip the pedals. Whereas this, it is really hard. Do you see what I'm doing here in order to get this going? The wheel here is so small to work with that you just don't have a lot of, room in that 365 wheel to move. So I would not recommend that for shoulder therapy. Would I recommend it for knee therapy on a post total knee replacement to take to and from your patient's homes? Or would I recommend it for the total hip replacement, taking to and from patients' homes? Absolutely. And I can show you what it would look like on a Flex Cycle so that you can see the difference of using pedals versus using the strides. It is a lot harder to push these pedals forward and backward, and we're really not even working on the shoulder. We're actually grinding into the shoulder, creating more tension and pressure and stress on the shoulder, creating compensational movements. So I would not do that if it were my recommendation to you, okay? Okay, so back to pedal height. So quite simple. We're gonna change this screw out right here at the bottom, okay? So let me get up here close and personal. While I'm doing this, I want to know what you're gonna use this for when you win it. When you win this, what is the first thing you're gonna aim to change or improve in your goal set? Is it gonna be improving your circulation, improving your muscle tone and flexibility, decreasing your pain, increasing your overall core strength, decreasing stress hormones, increasing bone density, or decreasing that waistline? Are we working on fat loss? Okay, and yes, you can use this for fat loss. I want to make sure if you are a weekend warrior who is used to the fancy ellipticals at the local gym, this is nowhere near a fancy elliptical from the gym. Those are going to run about $8,000. This is only $179.99 today. So make sure that you have your expectations appropriate for what you want to get out of this so that you're not disappointed and you're hoping to find something as world-class as what is at your commercial gym, because that is not what this does. Although this does feel very, very smooth. It feels very smooth for being able to use this at home. But the other thing that I like about it is if you wanted to use it with a patient or a client, if you're a personal trainer, if you're a physical therapist, if you're a chiropractor and you're wanting to use something in your facility that doesn't take up a lot of space, as you can see, my facility is not about machines. It's about free moving and changing free space. I don't like stuff that occupies a lot of room. So this is awesome for my facility, because if I've got a young man coming in with an ACL reconstruction that we're doing rehab on, we're going to put him on this bike or this elliptical machine, not a bike, but the elliptical machine for about 15 minutes before we start putting him through some single leg strengthening exercises. So there we have it. Okay. Now, what I want you to see again, since we're comparing apples to apples, I want you to see the difference in the height here for all 3 levels, so that you know how you can use it. This is like super flat. So now my foot ankle is totally different versus really being up here. We're being here, we're flat. So we're pushing down towards the ground more instead of pushing into the wall when we are executing this movement. When we go backwards, I'm going to feel this a lot more down here in my calves than if I'm going forward. So going backwards, we feel it more here in the calves than if we're going forwards. When we're going forwards, we're going to feel it more in the shin and in the thighs. Going backwards, more in the calves, hammies, booty, okay? Now, let's go ahead and turn it around, because remember, in order to stand, we're going to turn it around so it's backwards. And I'm going to back it up a little bit. And let's see how this goes. Okay, I'm nice and stable. It's not nearly as steep, so I'm staying much more flat, and this is safe and in a comfortable position. So I'm staying very neutral in my foot angle, whereas before I was really pushing high up into more of a plantar flexed position on one side and more of a hyper, like an over dorsiflexed position angle on the other side. This is much more stable. We can also go backwards, and going backwards, I can drop it low, 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 high, 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 and we can turn on some music and jam and pump it up and get those cheeks on fire, right? Okay, now I think I'm gonna look out for Lauren. She's gonna keep an eye on me on who our winners are gonna be. So make sure, they haven't chosen anybody just yet. So make sure that you are posting hashtag Rove, R-O-V-E, and I want to know what you're going to use this for in order to get ahead in your wellness during the holiday period, starting with Thanksgiving. What are we going to do in order to battle the bulge of the waistline, the hips, wherever you tend to put on more fluff, more insulation for those winter months, that colder weather, because that's all coming. And we want to make sure, since we're not able to see as much sunlight unless you're lucky enough to be on the East Coast or West Coast where the sun and the warmth are located, you want to make sure that we're able to battle this and kind of hack into our nervous system to release hormones properly. And we tend to sit around and be more stagnant when it gets darker sooner, and it takes a little bit longer for the light to rise in the mornings. And it's a lot colder, so we just want to lay around and snuggle up in a blanket and watch Hallmark movies, right? Am I speaking to you all here? Because that's how I can be sometimes. So I want to know what you're going to use it for, because it has so many benefits, and the benefits are unlimited depending on how you use your creativity. You can lean back and use those abs a little bit more. You can add some free weights and pump those arms. And matter of fact, let's do that, okay? So stay with me. I want you to post what you're going to use it for. And while you are posting what you're going to use it for, I'm going to pump it up. Pump it up. Okay? So we are pumping. Now, I made this easy on myself because it's only on a level 2. Let's go to a level 5. And here we are pumping. And I can go even harder on a level 8. This is the highest level. And so we can go, I call this sloth speed, slow motion, right? So slow motion is really working the body on a slow level, but a super, super high resistance. Okay, slow motion. Nice and fluid though, we're still nice and fluid. Okay, driving those elbows back, getting some tricep kickbacks. You feeling me here? Because you know what's coming next. I have already written all these workouts for the Lifepro platforms. Now we're gonna have to write some cardio workouts for the Rove Elliptical Machine. Going backwards, we punch, 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 punch. You get what I'm saying here? So it all depends on how you're able to synchronize, or maybe you're just wanting to pump those arms up and down, forward and back, or we want to change directions. We want to do some rows, okay? So there's so many different ways that we can add this. Yes, it would be perfect cardio for watching TV. So if you're into those Hallmark movies, into those holiday flicks with your family, all those classics, definitely make sure that you've got this sitting in front of your TV so that you can enjoy working out while doing your exercises. You can hear heart rate is high, okay? Respiratory rate is up. And so we are definitely in that hormone release mode. Okay, and that was on a level 8. It has 8 different levels of resistance. It's going to track how many strides total for the entire workout. It's going to keep track of strides per minute. It's going to keep track of your time, your calories. But what I want you to pay attention of when you're using this at home, and if you have a wearable monitor, meaning that you've got an app that you can run with, whether it's Polar, whether it's Fitbit, whether it's the Apple Health, I want you to remember to keep track of your heart rate on a wearable app, because a lot of these units have an onboard computer, but it's really not as reliable. Well, it's not reliable at all as compared to wearing a strap that's actually measuring your true heart rate. So if you're really wanting to know how many calories you're burning, how much time, and all of your metrics of health, heart rate, respiratory levels, VO2, all that kind of stuff, there are apps that track all that stuff, which brings me to my next point. If I remember right, let me second, check this, because I know one of our units has a Bluetooth capable feature on it in which you can synchronize into an app. And I can't remember if it's this one or not, but I'm double checking. It does have information on here on how to calculate your total heart rate so that you know where you should be. This one does not have the app feature on it, and it does not track your heart rate. So make sure if you are wanting to know how many calories you're burning, it's just a generalization. You don't want to rely on that as, okay, I'm going to eat 300 calories today, so I'm going to exercise 300 on the Rove. Don't do that to yourself, because there's not a lot of accuracy there, because that's very personal information as to how your metabolism, how your body, your height, your weight, your BMI, all that good stuff, and your overall general health inside and out as to how you are actually expending calories. Okay, that being said, $179.99 for a limited time only while supplies are available. So I want to make sure I stress this. It is the holiday season. Black Friday is next Friday. It's not this Friday, next Friday. It is the busiest shopping day of the year. And then we got Cyber Monday right after that. I am not privileged with Lifepro information. They guard that with their life. Not even I get the inside scoop on what the specials are going to be. So I'm telling you right now, my backstage crew is going to be posting a link to order. Make sure that you click to order today at $179.99, because the regular price is going to be anywhere from $249.99 to $349.99. That's a $100 difference. So make sure, meaning if you get it today, it's going to save you a chunk of change, okay? And you're going to have it very, very soon, because their shipping is lightning fast. I ordered 12 sets of Axis compression boots and 12 of the Oculex eye mask massagers last week for a women's pampering event that I hosted here, and it was here in 3 days. So they really work hard to make sure that our consumers are pampered with customer service and a limited lifetime warranty. So if you have any trouble whatsoever, make sure and reach out to our customer service, which is support@lifeprofitness.com. Again, that is support, SUPPORT, at lifeprofitness.com. And make sure that you utilize your warranty instead of just pushing it over into the corner or dropping it off at the dump, because it has a limited lifetime warranty. And Joel and the LifePro team are phenomenal with their customer service and making sure that you are appreciated and taken care of for buying their products. That's why we have so much repeat business. And that's why our consumers are the absolute best, because they share with us what's going on so we can continue to make improvements and know what our clients are looking for in happiness. Okay, so let's see what I got here. Yes, good stuff all the way around. Okay, now I'm going to give you 1 minute. I'm going to give you 1 minute. I don't have a name yet. I'm going to give you 1 minute to light it up. Give me #LifePro, and I want to know what is going to be the most exciting part of using this. Not what are you going to use it for, but what is going to be the convenience for you using it at home? Is it going to be not having to go to the gym? Or is it going to be using it in the office, using it from your couch during Hallmark season? Is it going to be using it because you don't want to be outside in the harsh weather elements? Is it going to be because you want to use it for your clients and your patients if you are a physical therapist, an occupational therapist, or you are a therapist at a school? So that's a whole nother area. You know, if you have kids in your classroom who are ADHD, super high levels of anxiety, you can have this in the classroom and use it with your kids in the classroom. You have so many different options of how you can use this. But I want to know what is going to be the greatest convenience for you having it, whether it's not taking up a whole lot of space, whether it's not costing several thousands of dollars, whether it is just being able to use it and adjust it really easy. You don't have to push a bunch of buttons when you go into a gym. You see like 50 treadmills and elliptical trainers, and you have no clue which one to choose because you don't know which button to push. Am I talking to some of you right now? So I want you to put, what are you going to experience inconvenience if when you win this, what is the convenience for it? Okay. #LifePro. What is the convenience of having it? Now, I had somebody else earlier asking me about using it for the shoulder. Stay tuned. I want to show you something. When it comes to using this on the shoulder, this is the flex cycle. Okay. Now, this is not going to fit up here very well because it doesn't have that tray. It doesn't have wheels that slide, but grabbing a handle on a pedal, this is much easier, but your fingers get caught in the crank. So that's not necessarily a good idea either, unless you have this up high on a surface where you don't have to worry about getting your fingers caught in a jam. So anyhow, that would be the difference. I know some of you wanted to see what that was looking like earlier. And again, I use this with I use all of these resources with all my clients, whether we're trying to fix pain, we're trying to fix fitness, we're trying to fix weight loss, or we're just trying to get people moving, because getting moving is what releases all the happy hormones that makes us feel wonderful. Okay, so I have a winner. Drum roll, please. Jenna Urban. Jenna Urban, you are the winner of the Rove Elliptical Machine. Make sure that you submit to LifePro through direct messaging, your name, your phone number, your shipping address, and your email, so we can get it to you lightning fast. And yes, Jenna Urban, that is you, my dear. You just won. Super excited for you. Now, remember, Thanksgiving is coming up. November is the month of gratitude and being thankful, although I like to be thankful and grateful all year round. But I want you to remember all the little things as we enter into this dark winter where it can be cold and less sunlight. We have to constantly battle and use our minds and hack into our minds and tell ourselves why life is so awesome. Not what's going wrong, but what's going right. And in doing that, our health, our happiness, and our influence with each other is going to always improve. And so in having so many of you in our Lifepro community, we have the opportunity to spread that joy and that greatness all around the entire world. So make sure that you are celebrating all the wonderful things that are going right in your life, not what's going wrong. And just remember, it just takes a little bit of an extra push. If you're in a rut, it just needs a little bit more of a push. And so if you're in a rut, make sure that you are posting in our Facebook community. Okay, somehow or another we got disconnected there. Anyhow, what I want you to remember, if for some reason that you are in a rut, I want you to remember to do whatever you can to celebrate all the little things. Make sure that you're staying positive, you're staying strong. Remember to just control the things that you have control over, whether it is what you're thinking about, how you feel about those things, what you say and what you do. Don't worry about what others are thinking, how they're feeling towards you, what they're saying about you, what you're doing. I want you to remember we have a VIP group on Facebook, and we have our comment section on Instagram, and we have all of our videos on YouTube, and we've got an incredible team that is keeping track of all those wonderful customers, consumers, followers, and so that we know, where you're struggling, because we're not only here as a wellness, fitness, recovery company, but we're here for a community of support. And so we have some of the greatest professionals on board as part of our advisory board, as well as our spokes team. We have so many different people that are here to help with many of you that are suffering with anxiety and depression, and so that you're not alone, because so many of you might be at home alone and you don't want to be out in the communities, you don't want to see other people, but you just need one little kick in the tush in order to get your mind right, so that you can stay in somewhat of a positive mindset. Because what happens when we start not feeling good about ourselves and we start thinking that we're in a rut, our mind becomes paralyzed about what's really good and around us. So make sure that we're staying positive and that we're celebrating each other for what we really are. Don't be afraid to look in your mirror at home and tell yourself that you really are a superstar and that you're amazing, because we are all amazing in some form or another. You just have to be willing to recognize it. And when you don't own it and you don't recognize it, but somebody does, recognize them for recognizing you, because some people, that's all they need in order to make their day a little bit better. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget, you've got this. And with Lifepro, we're here to support you. So have yourself a wonderful evening, and we're going to look forward to seeing you again very soon. Have a good night.